Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Pandas functions. Pandas is a popular Python-based data analysis toolkit. Pandas provide a unique methods to retrieve data from data frame. There are multiple ways to select or filter rows or columns from Pandas data frame. In this video, part first, we will discuss the following four Pandas functions: integer location based indexing, label based indexing data selection, filter to subset rows or columns of data frame, query the columns of a data frame with Boolean expressions. Uh, so, we will use the following data frame for practice in this video. First of all, to import the pandas and numpy library. Uh, this is our data frame. So let's say we print data frame. So the data frame contains 6 rows and 4 columns. Now we want to start with the first function, integer location. iLoc is integer location based indexing for selection by position. We have to pass integer index in the method to select specific row or columns. Integer location accept input in the form of integer, list or array of integer, slice object or boolean value. It returns the series or data frame depends on parameter. So here we are using the scalar value 0 in the first example. 0 means that we want to select the first row, 0 row. So it will display this in the, so this is the output. If we remove the square brackets from the input, now it will return the output in it will return the output as a Pandas series. So this is series. iLoc allows to pass a list of integers, a list of integer values to select specific rows and columns which may not be contiguous. So in this example, this is the list of integer, Python list, which contains 3 values 0, 2, 4. It means that we are going to select row 0 in which index number is 0, then the row having index 2, and last one is the 4. So it will return 3 rows with the given index numbers. So 0 to 4, and there are 4 columns in this data. Similarly, if we want to specify the rows and columns, so in this example, selecting rows and columns, here we want to select row number 0 and 4 and column 0, 2. So it will return 2 columns and 2 rows. Row having index number 0 and index number 4, and with the first column 0 column and second column third, which is third. iLoc also support slicing, in which we can select the part of the data frame. So in this case, we are going to select rows from 0 to 3 having index number from 0 to 3 and a column having index number 1 to 2. So it will return the following output. So if we want to select specific value, so we can provide the coordinates for that value. In this case, we want to select a value from row 0 and column third column, so which is actually fourth column, the last one in our data frame. So it will return the value A, which is the grade, which is the grade in the grade column. In this example, we are going to select all rows and first two columns. We are using the colon operator. First mean all rows, and 0 to 1 rows. It will display the two columns and all rows of the data frame. So there are 6 rows and 2 columns. iLoc also support input as a Boolean values. So in this case, we want to select all rows, but two columns, the first one and the third one, because for the second and the last one, Boolean values are false, so it will not display that columns. So roll and marks. The second is a location. This is basically loc is actually label based data selection method. We have to pass the name of the row or column which we want to select. So in this case, labels for row are used. So first of all, we want to assign label to the rows. So in this case, we are using the set index function to use the name column as a label for all the rows. So if we run this one, so we will get the name as a labels for each row. For example, if we want to display this one, so here name, column, Jamal, Kamal, Jamal, all are the labels. So every label identify the each row. Now to select row having a label is equal to this Kamal, so we can it will return the output as a data frame. So in this way we can use any label for the row to select row. Select row having a label is equal to this, and label is equal. Here we are going to select two rows with the given labels. So it will return the two rows having a labels Kamal and Salam. Loc also accept Boolean values for as a row labels. True. In this case, because there are 6 rows, so we want to display or to select the first row and the last row, because for all other rows values are false, so it will return the only 2 rows, first and the last one, Kamal and Kalim. Selecting rows for which marks greater than 60. So we can also use the Boolean value like this one. So it will, if it will return the true, it will return the true for that row in which marks are greater than 60. So it will return the value like this one. We can combine multiple conditions in this case. Here we want to display all the rows in which marks are greater than 60 but less than 80. So there are only 2 rows in which marks are greater than 60 and less than 80. Next, we can also use the log function to update the uh, data frame. For example, let first again we display the uh, this is actually our data frame result 1. Now we want to update this one. We want to change the marks for roll number 13. So here this is the roll result 1 dot roll equal to 13, and we want to change the value in the column marks, and this is equal to 58. After running this, we will get the following. If we print the result 1 again, so it will contain, now there is 58. The values change to 58 for the roll number 3. In this way we can update the data frame by using the log function. Here is a filter function. Filter function basically takes 4 argument items. Basically items is like list, like keep label from access which are in the items that we want to keep the labels. The other is like keep labels from access for which it is true. And regular expression can also be used for different pattern. Access if it is 0, so it means rows, and for column access will be equal to 1. So here we are filtering the 2 columns. Filter function is used to subset rows or columns of data frame according to the specified index label. This method does not filter data frame on its contents but apply to the label of the index. So in this case we are going to filter, we want to keep only the name and grade columns. So after running we will get this name and grade. Similarly, selecting columns by regular expression. So here x is equal to 1, it means that we are going to perform the operation on the columns. Regular expression display all that rows, all those columns in which names contains the m, capital or small. So there is only one column in which contains the m, marks. Similarly, if you want to perform this operation on the rows, here result 1 dot filter axis is 0 because we are going to perform the operation on the row. Here we are using the result 1 because in result 1 data frame labels label are used. Filter regression so it will display all these rows which contains the in which the label contains the word letter m or small or capital. And like, selecting row by using like keeps labels from access for which it is true. So we are going to apply this on the rows, so it will contain all the rows in which labels has a letter m. The last one is a query. The query basically to query the columns of the data frame with Boolean expression. So it contains 2 arguments. The first is expression, query string to evaluate, and the other in place. In place can take Boolean value true or false. If it is true, it means that the query operation will change the original data frame, otherwise it will create a copy of the data frame. So here we are going to select selection of row for marks greater and 16 less than this. This is the our expression. So we are going to evaluate this expression. So it will return the following output. In this example, we are using the in operator. Return all these rows in which contain the A or B in the column grade. So it will return the 3 rows because our grade is A and B. Similarly, selection of rows in which value is not a number, so it will display all the valid values. There is no not a number or null value in these rows. Query mark is not a number, so it will display that row in which not a number exists, which is the equivalent to this one. It will return also the same value. Thank you. In next video we will discuss the more Pandas.